Whiskey is one of the most consumed spirits in the world. More than 1 billion bottles are sold each year. To turn whiskey into liquid gold, they need cereal and charcoal. But how is the best-selling liquor in the United States made? Each new bottle of Jack Daniel's comes from this factory in the state of Tennessee, home to the famous Jack Daniel's distillery. In this quiet and small place in the southern United States, high-quality whiskey is produced. It all starts with spring water that supplies every drop of every bottle of Jack Daniel's. This spring pours 3,000 liters of fresh and clean water per minute. Since this water has been filtered with limestone, it does not contain iron. This is important because even a simple trace of iron would give the whiskey an unpleasant metallic taste. To make alcohol, top-quality cereals are needed. Every day, 450,000 kilograms of cereals are unloaded. Whiskey is composed of 80% corn, which contributes its sweet flavor, 12% malted barley, and 8% rye, which adds a fresh cereal and peppery touch to the flavor. The corn is poured into a machine that crushes the grain. The cereals are mixed with water and heated. Within a few hours, the enzymes from the malted barley will break down the starch in the grains and convert it into sugar. Yeast is added to convert the mixture into alcohol. In these 150 milliliter fermenters, they mix this sweet liquid with leftover yeast from the last fermentation. Soon, the yeast will consume the sugar and release the alcohol and carbon dioxide. Preserving the yeast ensures the use of the same variety. Over time, yeast can change and alter. Therefore, they have samples of their special yeast cryogenically frozen at -125 degrees. After 6 days, most of the sugar has turned into alcohol. This liquid is known as distillation beer. To transform this beer into quality whiskey, the alcohol needs to be separated from the water. The process begins by heating the beer below boiling point. It is then passed to a steel still. From there, it exits through a tube, is cooled, condensed, and a transparent liquid is obtained. The final result is a liquid composed of 70% alcohol, known as green whiskey, which tastes terrible. The solution is to filter it. This requires charcoal. To achieve the unique flavor of this whiskey, they use the same process that the company used 150 years ago. The wood comes from sugar maple. The trunks are cut in autumn when the amount of sap is lower. They are then dried for 12 months. To turn the wood into charcoal, they have to burn it. They use whiskey as fuel for this purpose. Once the whiskey ignites, the wood begins to burn. After a few hours, the charcoal burners sprinkle water to extinguish the fire. It is then piled up and prepared to be sent to the filtration vats. The green whiskey is poured on top, and they let it filter. It takes about 10 days for it to filter through all the charcoal. And when it comes out, it has a smooth and slightly smoky flavor to add taste and color to the whiskey. The barrels are charred. The inside of each one is charred to caramelize the natural sugars in the wood. This will give color and aroma to the whiskey. 500 barrels are filled in an hour, each containing 200 liters of whiskey. They pump about 378,000 liters of whiskey a day. The smell of whiskey penetrates the pores and is even dangerous. It is highly flammable. It could cause a fire or even an explosion. When filling is complete, they are loaded onto trucks that will take them to the warehouse. This warehouse has 7 floors. In that space, 20,000 barrels of whiskey can fit. This is just one of the 74 warehouses. Whiskey must be stored for 4 years before being bottled. The position of the barrels in the warehouse has a huge effect on how the whiskey matures. The higher up, the more flavor the barrel imparts, and the more expensive the whiskey. The whiskey is mixed with a little water to reduce its alcohol content from 59% to 47%. Then they begin to fill the bottles. Finally, it is ready to be shipped to whiskey lovers around the world. Are you a whiskey lover? Leave your opinion in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed it and share it with someone else who might be interested. Also, subscribe to this channel by turning on notifications to keep learning.